My name is Elise, and I'm 29 years old. For as long as I can remember, my life existed in comparison, not encouragement, not guidance, comparison. At every family dinner, every gathering, every casual conversation, my parents measured me against my sister like it was a habit they couldn't break. She bought a bigger place. She's doing so well for her age. You should learn from her. And then they'd look at me, not with anger, not even disappointment, with expectation that I would explain why I wasn't her. My sister didn't even need to try. She leaned back in her chair with that familiar half smile and said, "You're jealous, aren't you?" They laughed. My mom laughed first. My dad nodded, like the future had already been agreed upon without my vote. I stopped arguing years ago because in that house, defending your dreams didn't make you brave, it made you entertaining. Their laughter had teeth. My sister's house became the family trophy. Wide windows, perfect lawn, a story they told neighbors before they asked how I was doing. At dinner, my mom would casually bring it up, the cabinets, the neighborhood, the view, and my dad would nod again. When I tried to talk about my own life, the conversation tilted back to her, like gravity thatself favored her success. So I learned silence. I worked long hours, saved quietly, kept my plans folded inside me like a map I refused to open too early. Every paycheck went into a future no one could see. Every late night taught me patience. The truth was, I never wanted a house like my sister's. I wanted one that fit me, one built on choices I made when no one was watching. But explaining that felt pointless when the story had already been written for me. Months passed, then years. The comments never stopped. Sometimes they softened, sometimes they sharpened. When my sister upgraded her kitchen, my mom called me like it was breaking news, like I'd been waiting by the phone for proof that I was behind. When I mentioned a project at work, my dad asked if it was another phase, and my sister laughed again, light, careless, confident in the ending. I stopped sharing, stopped explaining, stopped offering them pieces of my progress to twist. I didn't tell them about the promotion, or the bonus, or the lenders who took me seriously because I was serious. I didn't tell them about the neighborhoods I walked through after work, imagining keys and quiet and ownership. I didn't even tell them about the fear that maybe their laughter would be right. But fear, like doubt, gets smaller when you face it every day. The night everything changed started like every other family gathering. Compliments aimed elsewhere, jokes landing on me. And then my sister said it again. "You're jealous, aren't you?" My mom laughed, my dad nodded, and something inside me settled. Not anger, not sadness, clarity. I invited my sister over for tea. My voice was calm enough to surprise even me. She accepted with a smirk, probably expecting another chance to compare, another room where she'd win by default. I didn't explain, didn't hint, didn't promise anything, because I'd learned something important. Some truths are better revealed than argued. When she arrived, she stopped mid-sentence. Then she called out hysterical, "Hey, Mom, you need to see this right now." I stood in the kitchen holding 2 cups of tea, listening to her voice echo through the house they said I'd never have. She walked slowly at first, then faster, opening doors, touching walls, looking out windows like the place might disappear if she blinked too long. When my parents arrived, my mother's smile froze halfway. The same mouth that had laughed now didn't know what shape to take. My dad didn't nod this time. He stood still. My sister tried to laugh it off, but the sound came out thin, because the truth was heavy in the air, and it didn't care about her tone. They took it in, the open living room, the light I chose, the quiet confidence of a space built without their approval. My mom finally said something about taste, about how nice it was. My dad asked how I managed, and the question felt strange after years of assumptions, because the answer had always been there: work, patience, discipline, and the refusal to let laughter decide my limits. My sister said softly, "I didn't know you were doing this." And I realized how often people mistake silence for stagnation, how often they confuse privacy with failure. I poured the tea. The clink of the cups sounded louder than applause, and for the first time, I didn't explain myself. I let them sit with it. My mom finally said, almost to herself, "I guess we were wrong." It wasn't an apology, but it was a crack in the old script, and sometimes that's where light gets in. As they left, my dad paused at the door. He nodded once more. But this time, it wasn't agreement with someone else's judgment, it was recognition. After the door closed, I walked through my house alone, touched the walls, breathed in the quiet, and I understood something I wish I'd known earlier. The best response to doubt isn't an argument, it's evidence. If you've ever been compared, laughed at, or underestimated by the very people who should have believed first, hear this clearly. Their laughter is not a prophecy, and their nods are not the final word. Sometimes the story only changes when you stop narrating it for them and start living it for yourself.